Hi everyone, my name is Nana Young, and my thesis is titled Black Women Entrepreneurs, Understanding the Challenges and Proposing Policy for Equitable Change. The goals of my policy capstone could be articulated in 5 areas. The first is the problem. The problem that my capstone addresses is the fact that although Black women are the fastest growing group of entrepreneurs in the United States, that they are the least successful. Last year, Goldman Sachs put out a report titled Running a Business While Black, where they analyzed the obstacles of Black entrepreneurship in the United States. And in that study, they found that Black women entrepreneurs have the lowest median revenues compared to other groups. So a Black woman entrepreneur generates only 47 cents for every dollar collected by a white male entrepreneur. So over the course of my thesis, I share various data points that present the inequalities in plain sight. But overall, my purpose was to not just articulate the various obstacles, but to answer the question, why? Why are Black women struggling to build successful businesses, and what could be done? So I first need to learn about the successful entrepreneur. So I asked the question, why does any entrepreneur, what do they need in order to be successful? To summarize, Bonstetter, who's a business scholar, shares that what differentiates a successful business from an unsuccessful business is the number of skills, resources, and opportunities entrepreneurs have. So I took these concepts a bit further and I developed the successful entrepreneur formula. So if you look at figure 2A, that's going to show the description. So in the thesis, I shared that although the elements for success differentiate across business sectors, that there are foundational elements that must be true for all successful entrepreneurs. And that's business relationships. So that's the R you see, that's capital, that's the C you see, and then entrepreneurial skills, and that's the S you see. And so what I've come to term that the successful entrepreneur formula is that R plus C plus S, if obtained and utilized to its full potential, is what is needed for an entrepreneur to be successful. I found that skills, capital, and relationships have the same value to one another. So that is why in figure 2A, you see that all 3 elements, R, C, S, equals 1. Also in figure 2A is the triangle diagram, and you see double-ended arrows going from one element to the next. These arrows explain that one element can give you access to the other elements and vice versa. And just so everyone knows that this figure is a demonstration of what should be, but not what is. My next question that I asked myself was why Black women and what is the root? So Black women in general endure systematic oppression that is directly linked to a long history of racial and gender inequality. In 1989, Kimberly Crenshaw coined the term intersectionality, which is the interconnected nature of social categorizations such as race, class, and gender, regarded as creating overlapping and interdependent systems of discrimination or disadvantage. In simple terms, Crenshaw explains that intersectionality is a lens or a prism for seeing the way in which various forms of inequality often operate together. So in figure 3, under the title, The Root, I showcase an example of an intersectionality diagram that demonstrates the overlapping of identities. And you see the darker spot in the middle is the intersection where Crenshaw talks about. And in my thesis, I share that even in the midst of darkness, bright spots exist. And I want to make it clear that by no means do I celebrate the oppression of my people, but I believe that by enduring the unique forms of oppression, Black women are indirectly building and exercising the very skills entrepreneurs need to succeed. So if they have the skills, why aren't they successful? And that brings us to the reality of entrepreneurship. Understanding the reality of entrepreneurship for Black women is similar to the way we think about intersectionality. Figure 2B at the bottom represents the reality of entrepreneurship for Black women. Unlike figure 2A, where all the elements held the same value to one another, in figure 2B, only relationships and capital hold the same value. The successful entrepreneurship formula, as mentioned before, takes on a different shape when Black women are the focus, which brings me to my theory. Number 1, skills have no value when compared to relationships and capital, respectively. Number 2, even though Black women have the necessary skills to build successful businesses, skills are not a conduit for the remaining elements, relationships, and capital. Dr. Nikisha Cody conducted a study and found that there are racial differences in women's motivations for becoming business owners. So for instance, Black women start businesses to care for communities as well as their own children, while white women typically start businesses solely to care for their children. One of the statements that guided my thesis is the quote by Angela Davis, when she says that when Black women win victories, it's a boost for virtually every segment of society. What that statement means for me in reference to this topic is that if we care about uplifting the entrepreneurs who are building businesses to meet the double bottom line, meaning that they're creating businesses not just for themselves, but for the societal impact, then we should be investing in Black women entrepreneurs, because investing in Black women entrepreneurs means investing in our communities. So my policy recommendations built on the current programs and policies in the city of Boston that support women and minority entrepreneurs. The first proposal is to create an exclusive list of Black women-owned businesses and provide modest tax breaks for local companies that utilize the businesses from that list. Number two, to dedicate a percentage of the city's contracts to Black women entrepreneurs and develop business grants solely for Black women-owned businesses. And number three, to build a robust business technical assistance program that meets the unique needs of Black women entrepreneurs and builds capacity for others to do the same. While there are great efforts being made in the city of Boston to support women and minority entrepreneurs, I believe that my policy recommendations have the potential to radically change entrepreneurial endeavors for Black women explicitly. Thank you.